Hey guys, Joe Miles here with Osseo Gear. This is the Mission Whitetail Podcast. We're going to be doing a deep dive into what it truly takes to kill these mature bucks. We're going to step outside the box and look at the why for gear, tactics, training, and more importantly, the mindset from over 35 years of chasing these magnificent animals all over North America. Thank you for following along and welcome to Mission Whitetail. All right, guys, Mission Whitetail episode 62, running solo today. Got Andrew and Wells here in the studio behind the scenes. Wells is, I'm sure, looking up inappropriate stuff on his computer right now. It's kind of par for the course. Andrew's doing his job, which is also par for the course. So, thought we'd do a quick season update, and then we will get into shooting prep and shooting drills. Not going to be a real long podcast today, but think it's important to get into the shooting drills that I do every year starting this time of year all the way up until the season. So first up, season update. I've got all my cameras deployed in the swamp here in South Carolina, and a couple spicy bucks have already shown up, some definite ones to get after this year. I've got all my cameras right now set up on early season spots, except for 3 that I've got already deployed into rut type areas, into the very few funnels that we have in the swamp. So I've already got all the cameras there in South Carolina set up. This weekend, I'm going to be going to Kalamazoo, Michigan, for the Mobile Hunters Expo on Saturday, and then from there down to Kansas to set the farm up there. Got to hang a couple stands and get 3 cameras out on the farm there that I'll be hunting later in November. So it's getting to be that time of year, guys. Everything that we do in July and August is really going to help us when the deer get rolling and the season gets rolling. So if you got some last-minute things to get done, cameras to get out, go ahead the next couple weekends, get that accomplished, get it out, make it a priority. All right, let's get into shooting prep. You know, a lot of the February, March, April time frame, I spend a lot of time testing new gear, tuning my bow, tinkering with different stuff, trying out different broadheads, and now it's time to put all that to bed. We've been doing some season updates, some Mission Whitetail season updates, short clips on social media going through different shooting drills, and that's kind of what we're going to focus on today. July, August, September, man, it is really time to start shooting the bow. So much time is spent debating broadheads, debating arrow weight, what sight, how to set your stabilizers. Man, all that's great, fine and good, but it's really time to put that to bed and all your spare time, shoot. So one of the first drills that I do, and all of this is to prevent that dreaded target panic from creeping in. I've battled with that over the years, and I've developed these drills to help me mitigate that and not have it come creeping back in to my shooting. So I like to do these drills, and again, I'm not an archery coach. Never have been an archery coach. I've been to a couple archery coaches, and this is a way. It's certainly not the only way, but it has worked very well for me to keep target panic away and help me on my shot execution and having really good form. So the first one is, it's a version of blind bail shooting, but it is actually aiming at dots. So I'll set a bag target up at 5 to 10 yards, however you have room. I mean, you literally can do this drill in your house, in your garage, in your office. It doesn't take much, 5 yards. And I'll set the target up, and I'll take 4 dots. You can use a magic marker. I've got little stickers from a rifle target that I use, and I'll put those 4 dots on the bag target, and then I will come to full draw, perfect anchor point, perfect aiming, and then I will completely relax and use my back muscles to execute the shot. And I'll repeat that process. I'll do 5 rounds of that with 4 arrows. So I get 20 arrows in, 20 shots in, and that's a good round. It doesn't get you fatigued. Now, if you haven't been shooting and you're just jumping into this now that we're at the end of July, 1st of August, then you may want to cut that in half because you don't want to get fatigued and start having horrible form. So you want to shoot enough that you're getting plenty of reps and building your stamina, but at the same time, you don't want to get fatigued. So maybe it's only 3 rounds when you get started, or even 2 rounds. But again, dots, 5 yards away, perfect draw cycle, perfect anchor point, work on the execution of the shot. Let your pin settle on the dot. You're close, and it's no tension there. It's no, oh my God, I might not hit the target. It's right there, and you can execute the shot, break it with your back muscles, and repeat over and over again. The next drill that I like to do is I'll have a close bail for blind bail shooting, and then I'll have a deer target at about 30 yards, 25, 30 yards, whatever your normal whitetail shot is. Mine are normally inside 30 yards, so I like to put the target at that maximum range because it makes me focus. And so here I'll have the blind bail at 3 or 4 or 5 yards away, and then downrange I'll have my target at 30 yards. And again, guys, we'll be showing these on our social media as we go week by week. So if it's not coming across, through the through visually for you, we will actually show the videos of these, and you can go into the Mission Whitetail YouTube or on our social media, and we'll put a whole drill segment together. Don't you think, Andrew? That'd be good, help people. All right, so again, blind bail, 5 yards, deer target at 30 yards, or you can play with those ranges a little bit, whatever you're comfortable with. I'll do 2 arrows at the blind bail, again, working on perfect shot execution, and then I'll do 2 arrows at distance at the deer target. And I'll repeat this also for 20 arrows. Again, you may only do 10, you may do 15, you may do 40. Whatever you're comfortable with there, just don't overdo it and get fatigued where you start having bad form. Next up is probably the most underutilized thing that I see. Lots of guys are in the backyard, and it's absolutely better than nothing. You're in the backyard, shooting flat ground at a deer target and a bag target, and you're walking back to 30 or walking forward to 10 or back to 60, and that's great. It's absolutely better than doing nothing, but highly recommend getting elevated. And I'll have 4 targets, preferably those deer targets. I use those miniature Reinhardt elk targets. They last forever. They're a little smaller than a whitetail. They make me be really precise with my shooting. And I'll set those targets up at 7 yards, 14 yards, 26 yards, 42 yards, odd yardages. We do so much at 10, 20, 30, 40. Man, mix that up. That deer's never going to walk in at exactly 10 yards or exactly 15 or exactly 20. So mix those yardages up and challenge yourself, and I'll get elevated. And look, I know it can be a pain hanging a deer stand or trying to get in the kids' treehouse, but if you can get on a roof or out of a second-story window, those are things that you can do to get elevated. I mean, preferably you would have a stand hung maybe in the backyard or at your hunt club or at your farm, and a couple targets handy where you can go and put them out at different yardages. But get elevated, have 4 targets out, and the goal here is to go 1 arrow, 7 yards, 1 arrow, 14 yards, 1 arrow, 26 yards, 1 arrow, 42 yards, or whatever you have set your yardages up as, and then come back the other way. So it'll be literally 2 arrows in each target. So you'll have 7, 14, 26, and then you'll have 42, 26, 14, 7. So you'll come back backwards. And then I'll do 4 rounds of that. So that gives you 8 arrows times 4, 32 arrows. So that's a really good round. And really, really focus on making a clean, perfect round of kill shots, not just going through the motions. I mean, get on yourself. If you pull one and hit forward in the shoulder, or you shoot one in the back straps, I mean, it's getting to be game time. It's the time of year we've got to be executing great shots. So be focused, challenge yourself, and try and shoot a clean, perfect round of 32 kill shots. And when I promise you, when you get to that point where you can go from that 40-yardish range all the way down to under 10, and you can put 32 arrows in a training session all in the kill zone, you are ready. You are 100% ready. That is a benchmark for whitetail season from an elevated position. So that really is a great drill that you can do. Take some effort, but if you can get elevated and do that, whether it's out of a saddle, whatever it may be, highly, highly, highly recommended. The other drill is one I've talked about quite a bit. That's our time drill. And what that is, you need a shooting buddy for this, whoever your shooting partner is. I mean, heck, it could be your wife, your son, it can be anybody. But get elevated. Have your target staggered again, and I'll just stick on the 7, 14, 26, 42 yardages. Have them marked out there, all the targets set up at those yardages. And then what you do is you come to full draw, and your shooting buddy will call out a yardage. So you'll come to full draw, and he'll call out 26 yards. So then you have to get on the 26-yard target, and he'll count down from 5. So it'll be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you have to execute the shot or abort the shot. If you're not comfortable, then you just come off of it and you don't shoot. And what that simulates is a deer coming through the woods, through different shooting lanes, and he finally steps into the one where you can get drawn and take a shot, but you don't know that ahead of time because that deer's got a say on how he's coming through there. So you get drawn, your buddy calls out the yardages, and then it puts pressure on you to execute the shot. So that's a little bit of adrenaline, which is exactly what's going to happen when that deer's coming through. So you can simulate that with this drill. We'll go into one more drill, guys, and that is the long-range dot drill. And basically what I like to do there, and this has helped my accuracy a lot, is I will take the smallest dot that I can see at long range, and that, you know, everybody's different. That may be 100 yards, it may be 80 yards, it may be 50, it may be 60, whatever you consider is really long range for you, and kind of overdo it. You know, add 20% to whatever you think is long range, have a big bag target, put the smallest dot that you can possibly see on it, and then shoot groups of 4. This really lets you see your arrow flight, making sure the arrow is flying very, very true. And if you are off at all with your form, shot executing, or your aiming, it's going to show up shooting long range. So that's going to tighten up your groups at close range, and I highly recommend it. And again, if you start feeling that target panic creeping in when you do this, go back to those original close range drills, and man, I'm telling you, it'll go right away. There's lots of stuff on the internet about how to get rid of target panic. I'm not going to get into all that, but if you're at a point where you don't have it or you've gotten over it, these are absolutely great drills that you can do to help you get ready for the season. I thought I would talk a little bit about what a perfect training day would be that I try and do once a week. Now, I realize it's not possible for everybody to do this, but it is a perfect training day. And this time of year, try to do it at least once a week or once every other week, and it will pay off in spades. I'm going to actually go to the woods, to my hunt club or my farm. I'm going to hang a stand. I'm going to have a shooting safety harness on. I'm going to have my hunting clothes on. I'm going to hang at 20 feet or whatever I normally get to. I am going to have my targets out. I'm going to take them and put them in shooting lanes in the woods. I'm going to take my 4 deer targets with me, or whatever it is you've got. If it's 2 bag targets and a deer target, or you only have bag targets, whatever it is, take them and set them up at those different yardages in that particular hunting setting. You may have a shot all the way out to 30, or everything might be inside that, but get them at different angles. Put the targets quartering away, quartering to, broadside, have one really close, 5 yards, have one really far, maximum yards at 30, steep quartering away. Make it as realistic as you possibly can, and then have a session. Go through it. 2 arrows at every single target. And go through that for 20 to 40 arrows. Again, if you haven't built up your muscles yet, maybe you only do 10. But if you're in pretty good shooting condition, make it an hour session. 40 arrows, 50 arrows. I mean, you've got to climb down, you've got to go pull them out of the target, so you've got time to rest. But repeat, and you can move the targets. Move them to different angles and just do a full scenario. And once I'm done with that, I will go back and come out of the tree, come back to my truck. I'll have a bag target there, and I'll do my dot drill. I'll do 10 arrows on the dot drill. And then you can get back in the stand and do another round of the real live elevated shooting, and back and forth between these two, and it will pay off big time come hunting season. Now, this is the perfect day, right? You're not going to be able to do that every day, but it's worth it in the end to at least do this 3 or 4 times, because you don't want to be working all your kinks out on your first hunt. And this is literally like going on a hunt. I hear guys talk about cold bore shooting and how they'll shoot 1 arrow a day. And I love that. If that's all you have to do, my buddy Bert Soren does this shoot to eat, and that challenge I think gets started August 1st. And you go to your maximum range and you shoot 1 arrow. And if you hit the 6-inch circle, you have shot for your breakfast. You get to eat breakfast that morning. And if you haven't, if you miss, you don't get breakfast that morning. So that's a pretty neat challenge, 1 arrow. But if I have the time, I will do my cold bore shot, but then I will also add in one of these drills, because you did the cold bore. You know whether you hit or you didn't hit. But then if you're going all the way to the range, or you're getting your bow out and your arrows, and you can get in some more reps, I feel like you should. So shoot your cold bore arrow, whatever it may be, out of an elevated position on the ground, 20 yards, 60 yards, whatever it is. But then follow that up. If you've gone to the trouble to get everything set up, go ahead and get in 20, 30 more arrows. So, guys, these are the drills that I do to get prepped for the season. I know that's a lot to unpack, and this is a shorter podcast, but I really just wanted to focus on shooting prep, because it's something we can control, and it's something that is vitally important. And I swear it gets overlooked. It gets overlooked every year. Guys don't get enough time, including myself sometimes. I'm guilty of getting enough time with the bow and with your setup, and rep after rep after rep. So when you we put all this work into getting the deer, and then we blow the shot, or heaven forbid, we wound the animal. We owe it to the animal to be lethal with our equipment, and it's a controllable. We can find the time. Get up 30 minutes earlier. Stay later 30 minutes. When the kids go to bed, get in the garage and do the dot drill. There's lots of ways to accomplish it. You just got to put a plan in place and execute it. So, guys, that'll wrap us up for today. That's the shooting prep for the season, and we will have another one next go-round. Looking forward to it. And also, one last thing. Anybody else out there that's got some good shooting drills, we'd love to hear from you, hear what you guys do that have helped you with Target Panic, helped you get ready for the season. Email us, Joe at Osseo Gear, and until next time, be safe out there, guys. Thank you.